on the Two versus Brother podcast. This is a long time coming, but we're back, baby, and it's about time.
We are back, man. It
Woo.
felt so good to. I'm still basically in vacation. You dragged me out from my vacation to get into this podcast, but it's so glad to be back. It's so great to have the opportunity to talk about, our teams and just definitely start looking forward to the playoffs or the Clown Bowl for those that are in the Clown Bowl.
Yeah, of course, Alfredo. It's I don't know, man. It's if at least it feels to me like this is that everything is coming to a head, and we are now going to know the two most important things: who is going to be the champion and who is going to be the clown. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I'll be the sexiest clown of all time. There'll be no one better. It's gonna if it's like the whole Trump thing. Make fantasy football great again. Make the clown sexy again.
Well, we'll see what happens, bro. A lot of moving stuff, and what we're actually in a few minutes, we're gonna be seeing the first domino to fall, in which in the Clown Bowl. And I know definitely Pedro, you want to talk about this. You have a lot of questions about my decision to bench Steven. I mean, to bench my player in my matchup against Steven.
Definitely, Alfredo. It seems like to me this love affair between you and Steven is another thing that has been a topic of discussion for the past few weeks, and he has basically declared you his love and his champion before anything is crowned, which to me seems a bit ridiculous because look, yes, you are 14-1, and something that we were going to get on the podcast last week to talk about because Danny had a lot of things to say regarding your basically run as 14-1, which to you is basically 15-0. Um, what do you think about what Danny said last week about you basically being a middle of the pack team that just faced the everybody on their worst week?
Well, today is a perfect example, this week's matchup, because this guy, and obviously I let the results play out, but I proved to Danny this week that even I can beat you in a low scoring matchup, high scoring matchup, pigeons in the way, Anyway, I even beat Franklin without my kicker. So it proves how great of a team I am. There's no middle of the pack team. Yes, he wanted to put out the whole thing with the schedule. I play the team that is in front of me. I have the highest scoring team in the league because I could have been the highest scoring team if I would have selected my kicker, but I didn't. So I mean, there's nothing. Actually, my defense. Sorry, there's nothing else to say about it. So, you know, he and I'm always gonna put it like this. And it was I mentioned it last year. When you compare to checkers versus chess, Danny always plays checkers, while I play chess. I always think of my moves ahead for my beneficial. Last week, I wanted the Buffalo defense. The Buffalo defense, and I'll say my strategy because is out there. Buffalo in week 16. Remember, this is why you plan and you get into this big lead so you can plan your team for those moments and not scrambling. I already have my lineup set up for the semifinals. Buffalo faces the Jets and the Patriots defense.
Mhm.
So I was not going to sacrifice my Bills defense that I'm going to use them in the playoffs just so I can get a victory. At the end, I didn't need it. I still ended up beating Franklin without my defense. So, no matter what this guy says, this is a reason why he is the clown. He will be where he belongs. And I'm going to make sure. And I damn guarantee that I will do whatever it takes for Danny to be the clown. And now you're mentioning about what I'm doing with Steven. I love Steven, but obviously we're competitors. I'm not doing this for Steven, okay? I have
Hmm.
my motive behind this. And obviously Steven is the beneficial. I want Danny to have the toughest road to become the clown. I'm putting obstacles and road to do it.
So not only do you are you gonna do this in the game, you're gonna screw him in fantasy football. You're gonna throw pigeons at him. You're gonna do everything metaphysical to make sure that Danny ends up being the clown. Wow, Fredo.
Whatever it takes, and I'm doing it. I'm giving away history because going 13-1, and if let's say if I win it all, 15-1 will be probably the best regular season ever, the best one. But nothing will make me more happy that if I win the title, I have Danny presented to me. And this is the move. This is a power move. So then if I do end up winning, I want to make sure that Danny presents the trophy to me with the clown mask. And here's the thing. Man, not no disrespect to you, Pedro.
Hmm.
If he ends up being number 7 and he faces you, and we'll talk about your team, but there's a high chance that Danny might end up winning that matchup.
It's
How you
possible. It's very
right?
possible.
So I want to avoid for that to happen. That's why I don't want for him to face you. And I am going to the extreme, and I'm declaring it that if next week you and I we face off in our week 14 matchup that has no meaning, nothing to go for, but if there's a possibility that I can have you win, see,
Wow. Wow.
so you can bump up a spot just so you can have, a better matchup and you don't have to face Danny, I will do it.
Wow, Fredo. So you're willing to sacrifice history so that Danny ends up being the clown at the end of the day. You're putting all your trust in Steven, me, and Kokis to bring this dream to fruition.
Absolutely. Steven, I mean, I'm giving him this victory. All he needs is 3 points. That's all he needs. If he doesn't score the 3 points, then I mean, there's not much I can do for him. I put it to him in a silver platter. But if this is how I come, if I expect, I will be starting Atkins tonight. So that's already gonna be a given. I will not start in Joku. So what I think how the clown bowl is gonna end up, obviously next week will also have to affect. Steven will face you in the 7-10 matchup, and then Danny versus Kokis.
Wow. So you're already calling it. That Danny will face Kokis. Kokis will take care of business and send him to the clown bowl.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at that matchup in week 16, week 7, week 16, I
Hmm.
mean, Kokis does have certain advantage. Looking at if you look at it, he has. I think the Eagles and the Commanders they're gonna have a shootout. So Jaden Hurts and AJ Brown are gonna benefit there. Joe Mixon does face up against Kansas City, but and Josh Jacobs plays against New Orleans. I mean, I'm telling you, just looking at the matchup, James Conner plays against Carolina, so I expect big, big matchup there. And just based on that, his matchups are a little bit much better than one Danny, and I think Lokokis can end up taking it.
All right, I do concur with you. If that were to be the matchup, then I do believe Koki takes it. Um, nothing, and not taking anything away from Danny, because Danny's team, how do I say this? Everybody that's in the Clown Bowl deserves to be in the Clown Bowl. Let's put it like that. You're there for a reason. You haven't been consistent. You can't score points or whatever it may be. The only person that I can say that it's a little bit iffy on is Kokis, because Kokis can score points. Kokis has done that. It just the whole happens that whoever he faces blows up against him, and he had like basically 6 losses in a row at the beginning of the year, and then he has slowly crept up to be in contention. But unfortunately, he lost. He lost one too many times.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and that could, he did get into a bad start, and I think that's what cost him the
Yeah, very bad start that cost him. But analyzing Danny's team, man, like, and this is just not to analyze all the teams in the Clown Bowl, because we'll be here all night, and I know that you have things to do, Alfredo. This is my battles that I have to face, not yours.
I'm gonna enjoy my vacation. Continue.
Yes, you're enjoying your vacation and ready to become a possible champion in this league for the first time.
I'm waiting for week 16, bro. Week 16 can't get here fast enough. But let's look at the matchup. Let's analyze Danny's team. You're saying that you want to analyze it. Where you want to check? Week 16?
Let's look at Danny's matchups in general, but let's look at week 16, because this is more or less when the Clown Bowl will start.
Yeah.
So you're looking at Jaden Daniels. You said Philadelphia. That should be a shootout. But let's be real honest here, Fredo. This team is Jaden Daniels and Brock Bowers. And I want to put in there Cooper Kupp, because Cooper Kupp just had a bad week this week, and he only scored, I think it was like 5 points.
Yep.
So we've seen him consistently give above 15 points for the past, since he's been basically playing this year. The only time he's given the least amount of points was last week, and the week he got injured in week 2. So he's been very consistent. I do not expect him to have a bad game like that again. Now, the problem here is you only really have 3 guys that can pull it out for you. And Jaden Daniels isn't going to give you 30 points every week.
Yeah.
So you're going to need other people to step up. And as we've seen these last few weeks, James Cook has stepped up for him, but we're starting to see that there's going to be matches where they're going to have shootouts. There's going to be a week 15. Obviously, he's not playing.
Yeah.
But you have week 16 and then week 17. I believe those games are very winnable, and there's going to be those games are going to be times that they're going to run the ball. So I see James Cook actually doing well. The team, in my opinion, this team doesn't have a lot to worry about, because this team, as long as Jaden Daniels does what he does, as long as Brock Bowers does what he does, he's going to be able to consistently put up 110 to 130 points. That's what I believe.
So you feel that Danny will end up winning in his matchup?
I believe that.
We're not going to do the bracketology because, it's still too soon, and, we have
it's still
to
too soon.
Matchup,
yes.
But just looking far ahead, what do you think about Cooper Kupp facing against the Jets defense?
Okay, Cooper Kupp facing against the Jets defense in week 16. Obviously, when you have a Puka Nacua and you have Cooper Kupp on the same team, this is, to me, the Robert Woods Cooper Kupp of several years ago. They had 1 year where both of them were over 1,000 yards and 100, and I believe almost 100 catches. So this is this year for that. Cooper Kupp next year may be irrelevant. Who knows? He already got injured in the beginning of the year. So did Puka Nacua. But I believe that this game is going to be a game where he falters, because Cooper Kupp is going to be covered by the number one cornerback in that team. Sauce Gardner ain't nothing to play with.
Absolutely.
So
Well,
that's where I think is going to be the matchup that he's going to lose. And that's going to I believe that's where he's going to end up. This matchup with Cooper Kupp is going to be the matchup to watch for him, because this is where I believe he will end up going to the Clown Bowl or not.
okay. Yeah, I mean, I think that's going to be a big factor, the Cooper Cup. I think I did say that it was going to be a shootout between the Eagles and the Commanders. I mean, it could be the other way around. I mean, they both have, in a way, good defenses. So it could be the other way around, but I expect, to be some form of a shootout. Um, you know, James Cook will also, be the top running back for him. They're gonna be running against the Patriots, so I expect greatness from them.
Okay. Now, on to another team that is in this Clown Bowl that I want to discuss, and that is your love of all time, the guy that you are benching your tight end for.
Remember, let me clarify. I'm only benching my player to screw Danny. That's it. We're all
Okay.
competitors. I have nothing to gain, nothing to lose. Now, if there was something that I'll be playing for sure I would not do this. But
All right. You've already stated that, Alfredo. On to Mister. Why did you trust me, Danny? I tell you, all the Danny jokes are coming out.
yeah,
So on to Steven. Steven has the second lowest in points in this league. I think he's like 80 points above me.
yeah.
Um, Tua Tagovailoa has been balling. Do I believe he's going to ball Week 16 versus San Francisco? I don't know. That's to be decided. Remember, we faced San Francisco before, and Miami has faced San Francisco before, and it has not gone our way, because obviously there's several things going on there. I'm sorry, Alfredo. Oh,
we
really?
we let's flash back to December 11. Let's look at this. Breaking. We have some breaking news.
Steven, what is on your mind? What is bothering you? Is something bothering your conscience right now? Franklin, I have thought about it multiple times, and I've told myself, why is Alfredo sacrificing his team for me? Sacrificing the legacy of one of the greatest teams ever for me. And I've come to a conclusion. Alfredo is trying to throw a bone to the lesser of the Sauce Brothers. He's trying to throw a bone to Peter Pedro Parker. And he's trying to make it where I face Gladiators on week 16, which I will admit my matchups are worse week 16 than week 17. And he wants me to face Pedro week 16. That way, it'll help Pedro get the win. So, but to you, Alfredo, I say this: I am one step ahead of you.
So he seems to believe that you're doing this to help me.
Snake, Alfredo. Never trust a snake, Alfredo. Wow. Steven, you are pulling the ultimate
Wow.
betrayal on a friend. And ladies and gentlemen, just full context, full disclosure here. This is.
So he wanted. I'm stopping this right now. So the funniest part of this is that he is admitting a loss. He's actually benching his player to give me the victory.
Wow.
the so Pedro, what do you have to say? Supposedly, Steven is saying that I'm benching to give you the victory, that I'm sacrificing for you.
For me, of all people. Listen, I've already. This the funny thing is the funny thing about all this. You know what it is, Alfredo? I have beat everybody in the clown bracket except Cookies. So what is another victory? You know, I've already taken care of business with Steven. I've already taken care of business with Danny. You know, and I've beat myself. I don't know how many times already.
Listen, you know, Steven, again, I know. Remember, I said this a few weeks ago when we're talking about the sauce, snake around the sauce, and I always said that a sauce will always be away from a snake. He knows where a snake coming from. I have mad respect, and no matter what you do to me, if you want to betray me, Steven, that's fine. I will always love for what you did to Danny last year, no matter what. So if you want to become the snake and you want to try, and I mean, and look at the video, it's hilarious. The whole Seth Rollins part, he stabbed me with Danny and Franklin of all people.
Wow. Of all people, them together.
Then together. So what is DX back? Is DX back reunited?
I guess DX is back together.
But the thing is, again, like I've said, I don't win and I don't gain. I don't lose from anything. I want Danny to be in the hardest road possible.
Hmm.
And Steven, you had your chance. You had your chance to put Danny where he belongs in the clown. So, it it looks like that Steven will make his return. What do you have to say about this, Pedro?
Listen, a snake is always a snake, and the only way to beat a snake is to cut his head off. So, unfortunately, that task most likely is going to fall to me. And the funny thing is, I've already nicked that snake once this year. So let's see what happens. We're gonna get to the clown bowl,
Why do you think would Steven bench his guy?
bro. Because
Why would he lose on purpose?
the only thing I can think of is that he knows that his Week 16 matchups are bad, and the most likely scenario is he thinks that I will beat him, and he wants to face. I don't know what he's gonna do because he has to face somebody.
He,
That's the thing.
I think this is what he wants to have the possibility of that if he loses week 16, that he will face you at week 17.
Yeah,
That's what he wants.
that's the whole scenario. Which I don't know why he thinks that because I pretty much have green all over my week 17 matchups and my week 16 matchups. So what if we're talking just like he says, I caught the podcast earlier today. He's like, oh, because Danny sees green and he's like, oh, that's great. No, bro. The multi-billion dollar corporation Yahoo has decided to put these situations as green for a reason.
Look at this.
But the one that no, the one that you that Danny wanted you to do, the popular phrase that became famous. Oh, I'm a snake. Now, Steven, think about what you're gonna do because this is gonna burn bridges. This is gonna create. No. The thing is, I am retaliating because Alfredo threw the first blow. I was ready to be best friends for life, but then he tried to help his brother. He just
Totally wrong. Totally false. I was not trying to help out my brother. Again, he didn't see. I was not trying to screw him to help my brother. I was trying to screw Danny by giving him and forcing him to face the Kokis. So, for not trusting me, even, you cost yourself a friend. I gave you my word from the beginning. Who is the one that called you when you were in your down all year long? It was me. And now you let yourself get influenced by Danny.
Because most likely that's the culprit of all of this.
Blood is thicker than water, yes. But in this situation, and Pedro knows very well, he knows where he stands. He thinks the same thing as me. He does not, he wants Danny to be the clown. So,
Listen, guys, I've said it already. I'll be the sexiest clown of all time. Danny, I don't know what he's gonna do. He hasn't even told his wife, his girlfriend, that he may be a clown. Steven will have his kids at the. They're gonna be there. They're probably gonna be right after a baseball game. They're gonna come. And the last thing I want is to have a grown man be a clown in front of his kids. So unfortunately, the only person that's left is Danny and Coquise. I don't think Coquise is gonna be the clown. I'm sorry, unless he has a catastrophic injury. He's not gonna be the clown. It looks to me like it may just be Danny.
absolutely. I mean, Steven, I know we're going to put an end to the podcast for today, but I will tell you this, Steven. Um, I mean, you cost yourself. You're the one who cost yourself because I don't lose and I don't gain. Doesn't matter. At the end, I know that if I would have win it all, I would have the greatest team ever assembled. But no matter what, Steven, I will always love you. I will always love for what you did to Danny. Because even though you might think that you screwed me this year, but it doesn't hurt me what you did compared to what you did to Danny last year. You cost him a championship. So if you want to cost me, you're gonna have to go much harder than that. Um,
Yeah, be
so,
prepared.
so don't think I did not do it to screw you, to help my brother. That was never, never the cause. It was to screw Danny. Oh, look who's joining the
Gentlemen,
podcast.
what's going on, gentlemen?
Hello,
What's
hello.
up?
Nothing much, man. Nothing much. Just
I
here.
was about to get out, but I do want to hear from you from the betrayal part two. I mean, what's your thought about this, Franklin?
Um, it seems like the snake believes that his best chance is to face Peter Parker in week 17. He believes that his best chance to beat him would be to face him in the Clown Bowl because he says, and I quote, my matchups are not favorable. And if I face Pedro in the first round, there's a higher probability that I will lose to him in that first round than in the finals.
Wow.
But he criticized Danny to talk about matchups, and he's right now falling for it. I was not going to screw him. The point was not to screw him. The point I wanted to screw Danny. So I mean, he didn't do anything to me. He didn't cost me a bye week. He didn't cost me. He's actually going to give me a victory. So whatever. So I have no loss, no gain by this.
Right. I mean, I told him, are you sure you want to do this? And he goes, I'm sure. I'm sure that I want to do this because Pedro, I have a feeling Pedro's being thrown a bone. Again, I'm quoting him. And if he is putting me above Pedro, then there is no alliance. I thought I was his number one. Those were his words.
Oh boy.
I will always love him. No, he can do whatever he does to me, but I will always love him after what he did to Danny last year. So I don't. He can insult me. He can tell me whatever he wants to tell me. I will always love him.
Right. I mean, look, man, we've said it all season. The favorite to be in that clown costume, unfortunately, is Pedro.
Yeah.
And it's not even a dig, Pedro, but I think that there's a good chance that whoever you face in the finals, they might not perform, bro. You never know. Anything can happen, and it is week 17. A lot of teams tend to bench their players at halftime, so anything can happen, man.
Yeah.
But
It's
all I
it's
was
very, it's very listen. I've made peace with the possibility of being a sexy clown. That's it. There's nothing. There's what else am I gonna do? I'm not gonna be like Danny and not tell anybody that this is a possibility and not tell his girl. I don't know. Listen, I know you and me are gonna go on vacation with the week before, but I'm not gonna be a clown. Don't worry about it. Everything's gonna be good. We're gonna keep going to Europe. We're gonna have a good time. We're gonna drink wine. Don't even think about this. And I can't be like Steven. I said it a little bit ago to Alfredo. Steven coming from a baseball game, having to wear the clown mask, have the costume and everything in front of his kids. I can't. The most likely scenario is him being in this because of everything that just transpired is him being the clown. Because who's he gonna be? He has to be Cookies. That ain't happening.
Mm-hmm.
He has to be Danny. That's a 50-50.
It's like
And Steven doesn't, bro. It's like he doesn't trust his team, man. He has out of the four, I think he has the best shot to win it in that consolation. His team is stacked. Now he's gonna pick up the San Francisco running back Garendo. He has a squad.
he has a squad. Yeah.
I wouldn't want to face him in the playoff.
No.
I wouldn't
No.
want to face him in the playoff, and you know
He has that
trust his
possibility.
team.
Mm-hmm.
Trust his team.
Right.
Know,
He's one of the teams that is capable of blowing up and giving you 150 160 points, and to me that's the most concerning part, Pedro, which is why I have you as the shoe-in for the clown, because you haven't, the most you produced all season was 140, and that was against me. Correct. And after that you've been producing in the 120s. So your best bet is for someone to have an off week, like a KMA, for example, having an off week, and you escape.
Yep.
And this is what I'm telling Danny. Anybody can have a bad week.
Anybody can have a bad week. Yep.
And that right there will send you to the combo. So you don't necessarily have to score up there, but you're going to have to hope that some of his players don't perform. That's your best bet. I don't see you, scoring up there in the 140s, 150s, but hopefully they can have one bad game, which could, give you a 50-50 to win the matchup.
Oh, yeah,
but at this point, bro,
for sure, bro.
Yeah,
bro.
For sure is a favorite to be the clown. I mean,
Look, guys, I will say one thing. You guys, if it wasn't for the last 2 weeks that Steven and Danny have decided to come out of their shell and start scoring points, no one would be saying that I'll be the clown. Because just 2 weeks ago, Steven was offering to pay me $100 to be the clown, so he doesn't have to do it. So what changed? What, I scored 80 points 1 week because I didn't start Eduardo? Come on, guys. Nothing's changed, man. The only thing's changed is the players. The players are deciding to play a little bit better 1 week, but they could go right back to being garbage. Yep. And there's a reason why everybody here. There's a reason why this clown bowl is the way it is.
There's a lot of questions, man. I mean, on Steven's end too, you have the CD question mark. What's going to happen with CD Lamb? Are they going to shut him down? Are they going to shut Tyreek Hill down for the season? Like, these are things that we won't know, but it could very well happen for Steven. So there's a lot of things that we're waiting to hear answers on. But I do have a feeling that they're going to shut down Tyreek, man. I really do.
I don't know.
That's probable. It makes a lot of sense. But but the team with the most question marks going into the Clown Bowl is Steven. Because it's not that I have question marks. I have exclamation points, just to be honest. But it's I have exclamation points on players like, why is this guy even starting? But that's the guy I have on my team. You have Danny with some question marks and Koki's with very little question marks. So At least to me, the way that it's constructed, Steven is the one that is at most peril to be the clown if things don't go his way. Because I can score 120 because I've been doing it. 119, 120, 110. But he could go have a week that he only scores 40.
Hey guys,
Yeah,
I have to cut off the chat.
All right, guys.
Podcast. Hey, it was a pleasure, Steven. We'll have a conversation about this. I do want to hear from Steven. Why, Steven? Why?
All right, guys. Later.
Bye, bro. Take care.